Hello everybody, myself Dr. Neena Dongre Wankhede. Today I will show you how to carve maxillary first premolar. First of all, take a wax block and make all surfaces smooth from all over side because this is very important. Until and unless you don't make your surfaces smooth, you won't be able to carve crown or root properly. And now after this smoothing of surfaces, you measure the height of crown and just mark it. It is 8.5. So here it is the crown height I am marking, and then the length of root also you have to mark, which is 14 millimeter. So this is the markings. This is marking for root length, and this is for crown height, which is 8.5, and this is the last thing is base. Now as the tooth is maxillary first premolar is wider buccolingually, you have to make crown wider buccolingually. So first of all you have to make the outlines on the crown. So as the tooth is they have two cusps, one buccal cusp and one lingual cusp. So you have to name the surfaces. This is buccal side, opposite to buccal side this is lingual, then one is mesial side, and another fourth one is distal side. So now I will carve on buccal side. You have to mark two corners for a cusp, and mesial and distal profile is converging cervically, so you have to mark that outline. So this is the outline which I have marked on buccal side. So you have to remove now this for two cuspal ridges. You have to make two cuspal ridges on occlusal surface. I will remove these two corners on the occlusal side. So this is the one side I have removed, and this is the another side for distal cuspal ridge. So one is for mesial cuspal ridge and another reduction is for distal cuspal ridge. So this is the shape I have given for cusp, and which is unequal. Now I have marked these two mesial and distal profile converging cervically. So now I will carve on mesial and distal side, which is cervically converge gradually. So I will now carve on the mesial side. This is the reduction on the mesial side. See, this is reduction on mesial side, and now the reduction on distal side. So this is the crown shape, overall shape of from occlusal surface and mesial and distal surface. Now we have to carve now buccal and lingual side. So on buccal side, where is the height of contour? The height of contour is on middle third. So we will divide the crown buccal surface into three equal parts. We will divide the crown into three equal parts. This is cervical third, middle third, and occlusal third. Now I will carve slightly on the occlusal third and cervical third, so that I will get height of contour at the middle third part on buccal side. So a very less reduction I will do on occlusal surface and cervical surface. So if I'll make this surface smooth now, I will get occlusal outline, buccal outline and curvature this way. So this is the, and you have to carve buccal surface this way that you should get the buccal ridge. You should get buccal ridge exactly in the center. And how to get buccal ridge exactly in the center? You will have to carve buccal half of this portion towards mesial side and this buccal half towards distal side. Like if you carve it this way, this half and this half. So now you will get this buccal ridge. So I carve this half portion towards buccal side, mesial side, and another is for distal side. So automatically I have got this buccal ridge, and which is in curvature. If you take a proximal view, you will see it is not exactly straight, but it is in curvature, and the maximum convexity, that is the height of contour, at middle third. Similarly, you have to carve on lingual side, but whatever features are present on buccal side, which are prominent and which are less prominent on lingual side. So similarly, again reduction, I will mark 3 outlines on the lingual side. Again I will carve on cervical third area on lingual side and occlusal third area, and I will make curvature of lingual surface, but which will be less prominent than buccal surface. Now as crown is buccolingually wider, I have to make mesial and distal profile more narrower, so that I will get buccal and lingual surface wider. Don't carve much from buccal and lingual side, otherwise your crown will become very much narrower buccolingually. And as this tooth is wider, this is the arch trait of maxillary first premolar, that the maxillary first premolar is wider buccolingually. Now I will carve mesial and distal profile in such a way that buccal surface will be broader and lingual surface will be narrower. So I will converge mesial and distal profile lingually, so that I will make the surface mesial and mesiodistally narrower, as well as converging lingual side. So this is the convergence of mesial profile towards lingual side. So this is converge, and similarly I will make convergence of distal profile towards lingual side, and I will make lingual surface narrower as well as mesiodistal dimensions narrower. Now you can see this is the reduction of mesial and distal profile towards lingual side, and you can see now the crown is now the overall reduction I will show you. Occlusal reduction, then buccal and lingual reduction, mesial and distal reduction. Now the buccal surface, you can see it is broader, and lingual surface it is narrower. Now the occlusal, occlusal surface, which is not exactly straight, it is not straight, but it is sloped towards lingual side. Why? Because in maxillary first premolar, buccal cusp is at upper height at the and the lingual cusp is at lower height. That means it is not only wider mesiodistally crown of this thing, the buccal cusp, but it is at the upper height, slightly larger and longer. And lingual cusp, it is width wise it is shorter and smaller also. So I have prepared this occlusal surface now for a crown to carve occlusal surface. I have prepared this crown to prepare occlusal surface. So this is the outline. How is the outline, occlusal outline of maxillary first premolar? Hexagonal. You can see hexagonal outline. This is the first angle, second, third, fourth, fifth and sixth. So 6 angles, where 3 angles are more prominent on buccal side and 3 angles are less prominent on lingual side. So this is the overall dimensions. Now your crown is prepared for occlusal surface. How is the occlusal surface to carve? First of all, you have to make 2 pits on the occlusal surface. These are 2 pits. One is mesial and one is distal pit. You have to mark it like this. Not exactly in the center. If you mark an imaginary midline, so you will see the pits are not exactly on the midline, but slightly at the lower level, just below the midline. Why? Because buccal surface is larger than lingual surface. So you have to make these two occlusal surfaces, these two surfaces unequal, and that's why these two pits I have marked. Now you have to mark central groove. So this is the central groove where this is the mesial pit and distal pit, where we have joined this by the linear depression called groove. Now this is the central groove. There are 4 developmental grooves present on the occlusal surface, so I will mark it. So this is 1, this is 2, this is 3, and this is 4. So 4 developmental grooves I have marked. 4 developmental grooves I have marked. Now I have to make 4 inclined planes on the occlusal surface. What I will do, I will take the buccal surface like this. The tip of the cusp will be opposite to the tip of buccal cusp, and now I will there are 2 pits, mesial and distal, and then we have joined this pit by a linear depression, that is central groove. And after marking this central groove, you have to mark 4 developmental grooves on the occlusal surface, 2 on the buccal side and 2 on lingual side. So these are 4 developmental grooves we have marked, and now we have to carve 4 inclined planes on both the cusp. So from the tip of cusp towards the central groove, you have to just move the carver. You have to keep this tip of carver towards this marginal ridge, and just move your carver towards central groove and remove this wax. So you will get this inclined plane. So this is buccal side and this is mesial side. So this is mesio-buccal inclined plane. Similarly, now turn your carver and keep this tip of cusp now towards distal marginal ridge, and just from the tip of cusp just move your carver towards central groove and remove the wax. You will get this mesio-distal inclined planes. So this is on buccal side. I have carved 2 inclined planes. Similarly, we have to carve 2 inclined planes on the lingual side. Now just keep this lingual surface towards you. Again, with the same manner, you have to carve inclined planes by keeping the tip of carver towards the mesial side and just go towards the central groove, and you remove this wax. You will again get this mesio-lingual inclined plane. And now I will carve disto-lingual inclined plane by keeping the carver in the same manner. So we have carved. Now just remove all rough surfaces by give gentle pressure on the with the gauze piece, and remove all extra wax. Now you can see this is buccal cusp, this is lingual cusp, this is tip of cusp, this is distal side, this is mesial side, then this is mesial side, distal side, this is distal marginal ridge, this is mesial marginal ridge. How is the distal marginal ridge? It is intact. Distal marginal ridge is intact, but mesial marginal ridge, there is on mesial side there is a small linear depression present on the mesial side, that is called, as this depression is present on the mesial side on the near the mesial marginal ridge, it is called as mesial marginal developmental groove. And what is developmental groove is doing? This developmental groove is just interrupting mesial marginal ridge. So this is the mesial marginal ridge. This groove is interrupting mesial marginal ridge. So this groove is called as mesial marginal developmental groove, which is seen on the occlusal surface on the mesial side. So it is named according to its location. Now there is a small developmental depression, that is a rounded shallow depression present on the cervical third area. So with the other end of this carver, you have to carve a shallow depression at the cervical third area on the mesial side. So that shallow depression is called, as the shallow depression is called fossa, and this fossa is present on the mesial side. This indentation is because of canine. So this fossa is called as canine fossa. So on mesial side there are two characteristic features present, that is presence of canine fossa on the cervical third area and the mesial marginal developmental groove which is interrupting mesial marginal ridge, and that's why there you can see the mesial marginal ridge is slightly, it looks little undeveloped as there is an interruption of the mesial marginal ridge by mesial marginal developmental groove, and you can see the mesial distal marginal ridge which is intact. You can see the difference between these two marginal ridges. This marginal ridge is intact, that is distal marginal ridge, and mesial marginal ridge is not intact, it is broken or interrupted by a groove. So you can see how is the buccal crown which is broader and it is gradually getting narrower towards the lingual side. So the buccal cusp is larger and broader, lingual cusp is smaller, and lengthwise also it is shorter, and it is shorter, smaller and shorter, larger and longer. So the occlusal plane you can see from the proximal view, if you take, you will see the lingual cusp is at lower height and buccal cusp is at upper height. Now the crown is prepared. We have to carve now root. So how to carve root? You have to remove this all surfaces. As the crown is wider buccolingually, root is also wider buccolingually, and there are two roots. So you have to carve two roots. For that you have to remove a wax. You have to remove wax from mesial and distal side. As we have already marked, this is the length of root which is 14 millimeter. So the major reduction with the palm and thumb grip, you can remove this wax. When we use this palm and thumb grip, when you have to remove major wax portion, then you can use this grip. So this is the from the mesial side I have removed the wax. Similarly from the distal side also, gradually you have to carve buccal third. These two markings are for division of root. This is the bifurcation area where root is getting bifurcated, divided into two parts. So gradually now I will make this groove more deeper, and you have to apply gentle pressure and gradually remove wax from this area and from both the side. So this groove you have to make more deeper, not wider but deeper, gradually. Similarly on the other side also I will try to make this groove more deeper, so that this carver should go through and through. This way you have to carve two roots. Now these are two well separated roots. Don't try to carve much from the outer area. We have to make these two roots. This is buccal root, one buccal root and one lingual root. So as you have to make this buccolingually wider, so that you can separate these two roots properly. So make this buccal and lingual surface wider.